everybody says this, but I genuinely believe we have the best crew in possibly all of television. It's amazing to see these things brought to life. Everybody comes together to make it happen.
Hi, my name is Margot Reddy, and I'm the production designer on Yellowjackets Season 2. A production designer collaborates with and oversees all the visual departments of the show that are not costumes and are not through the DP and lighting. The props, the set deck, all the construction, paint, sculpting, greens, special effects. It's a pretty heavy-duty show in terms of construction and set deck.
The cabin looks incredible.
Our biggest world-building set was the cabin. This was established in Season 1 at an actual location. They built a cabin in the forest outside of Vancouver, and we took the details and design of that cabin, and I secretly made it slightly bigger so that you have more room on stage, and put it here on our Stage 8. This was one of the more challenging things I think I've ever done. We made some changes to the cabin, like we added moss and mud around the windows, which I think gives it kind of an interesting fantasy look. The icicles were really kind of an epic R&D. We had our sculptors play with melted plastic and kind of melting it into certain shapes. And then we found that you want to put liquid in the plastic to give it depth, and you also want to frost over the plastic to make it look real.
Hi. Hey, Dan.
This is Van's apartment, and this is meant to be above her store. Van still really loves her 90s references, so we have lots of movie posters and knickknacks and so on to kind of build Van's world. We had a really good time with this set. A lot of it is in the details. We found this interesting old fridge and stove set in this avocado color, which I love. We added some burn marks to make it feel like this is an older kitchen, and we wanted it to be light and bright despite being an attic, so we added lots of windows, and we also added some stained glass windows because it adds really nice color to a set. It's got lots of details, little writing areas. We like to come up with character details that give a bit of depth, like she's probably into old cameras. I think the biggest Easter egg came up really early in the season when we had discovered this great location for Lottie's compound that's like a beautiful big building and a bunch of cabins up the hill and this gorgeous lawn that overlooks the ocean. But I felt the lawn was very blank and open and needed some personality. So I had this idea one night of what if I just laid out the symbol on the grass in a large form. How would trying to make the symbol secretly govern the space out there? How would that affect the purpose of it? The slash made a perfect connecting pathway from one part of the compound to the other, and the round head made a perfect spot for like a circular stage area that overlooked the ocean. So my hair literally stood on end when I realized this, and it was kind of this eerie feeling. The writers decided that this was probably something unconscious that happened on Lottie's part. She didn't even realize she was doing it. It's just a path worn in the grass from place to place that you need to go to work in the life of the compound.
I'm David Goodman. I'm the prop master of Yellowjackets Season 1 and Season 2. Welcome to our world. We probably have 200 bins and 300-400 different props. We are working on 2 different worlds, 2 different groups of casts, so that can be somewhat of a challenge to find props that the younger cast will use that will also work with the older cast. I do have a favorite prop that we've created. We created it on Season 1, and it was when Misty found the flight recorder and decided to destroy it. It wasn't a super complicated build. Of all the shows I've worked on, this was actually probably the coolest build that we ever did. This one happens to be a rubber one, so it probably doesn't look rubber, but it totally is.
Marker.
Action.
So one of the first things that we see on the first episode of Yellowjackets Season 2 is Jackie's dead body.
Ella was scanned in New York via photogrammetry. We then took the scans, sectioned up her body, 3D printed her head. This is our 3D printing lab. So a head and partial shoulders typically takes 30 to 40 hours to print. We designed all the ball joints in CAD. So from start to finish, took a small team of people about 3 weeks to complete.
For Jackie's burnt body on the pyre, we actually had to make 3 versions of it. One of them out of stone, dressed in her costume and actually lit on fire, with them being able to keep on reusing it in case they had to reset. This is one that was used for shooting what it looked like right when she was freshly cooked. It was quite an interesting time at Masters Effects where we had all of these gross burnt bodies everywhere, painting nasty fingernails and putting it all together, actually using fire to burn her hair and create these kind of crispy bits on her skin. There was also another version of this where the actors actually had to eat chunks of her. And we had to figure out how to make something look like human meat that was vegan, gluten-free, no sugar added, and that the girls could actually interact with and physically eat. We even added really good flavors to it. It wasn't just straight up jackfruit and rice paper bacon, but there was a lot of tests and a lot of snacks had by the whole team during that process.
I don't like chewing this and looking at us.
All right.
Hi, I'm Eric LeMay, Special Effects. Here we have a special effects wall of fire behind the back end of the airplane crash scene.
On the day of the moon sequence in episode 205, we dressed the burnt bodies with dirt, coffee grounds, a little makeup effects trick, just to bring the bodies to life. Fabricated mainly latex and cotton over top of skeletons. We also see a Sophie transformation where makeup was applied for burnt skin sloughing off the face.
Holy fucking shit.
The largest build of Yellowjackets Season 2 was definitely the albino moose. It took the whole Masters Effects team to make this come together. There was extensive research and development, many things to take into consideration. The fact that it was going to be in a pool for a couple of days, making the hair look good underwater, making sure that it was durable.
So as you can see, the rigid fiberglass shell, as you know, the cast has to yank the moose out of a frozen lake. So the speed rail for special effects to mount their skate rig to, which allowed it to pop in and out of the water as the cast pulled on it.
We want to make everything as real as possible for any show we work on, but we really wanted to give it our all for Yellowjackets Season 2.
Sophie!
Hi, my name's Amy Paris, and I'm the costume designer of Yellowjackets Season 2. We make a lot of stuff in-house. We bring fabrics from all over the world. We have tons of machines and tons of amazing tailors that I couldn't do this job without. The girls weren't planning to crash, of course, so they don't have a lot of heavy jackets or really like warm winter wear. So they're getting really creative with layering pieces on top of other pieces, doubling up socks, making gloves out of other socks. They're really starting to get creative and think outside of the box to keep themselves warm because they don't have those clothes with them. We do keep everything throughout the season, and then we also keep last season's, and as each season progresses, you hang on to each outfit because you never know when there's a flashback.
Allow yourself to go back. What do you see?
Here we have a breakdown space. This is where the clothes come after we've built them. We have a bunch of talented artisans who help us break down these clothes. The worse they look, the better. We actually want dirt and grime and holes and texture, so I often go to them and ask for more, just to make it really dirty and really grimy because it often doesn't show up on camera as dirty as it really is. Much like the fake leather on the Misty shoes, Natalie's hide is also fake. So we're using fake deerskin rugs that we've turned inside out, and Amanda put this lovely latex treatment on it to make it look kind of sinewy, like muscle. With each episode, the scope and scale of the amount of costumes we need is pretty intense because everybody needs an outfit, if not more than 1 or 2 outfits. So we can be looking at like 40 to 80 changes per episode. That includes contemporary storyline and period storyline.
That's how it's done, y'all.
This season, I'm hoping that the fans pick up that there are some Easter eggs hidden in Season 2. There's some clothing pieces from the pilot that are still around, and they are passed amongst each other. Some of the specifics include the pink Converse that we see when somebody walks up to the pit. And there's a balaclava that we made with a skunk head on a sweater that has sort of a Fair Isle pattern that's really, really specific. You can track it as a viewer amongst different people wearing it. The medieval feast was so great to get to do for not only me, but the girls. They've been in kind of dirty cabin clothes this whole time, so to get to do a fitting in these like gorgeous gowns was so fun. We shot it at night, so there's firelight and candlelight, and their gold is glinting against these flames. I mean, it was a really magical night, and I feel so lucky to be a part of it. This journey working on Yellowjackets, it's kind of intense and crazy, but it's also so fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.